What's going on, guys? This is Matt Marinoff, my co-chair for today at 12 o'clock at lunch. Bring your lunch. Drinking is optional. You've got to be 21 years old of age, obviously. Otherwise, it's a big no-no. Unless your parents are really cool. Strike that. Only kidding around. That's allegedly. I've known Fawad now for a couple of years. I work with Fawad as one of the trusted real estate attorneys that I deal with in the state of New Jersey. He is licensed in New York, ladies and gentlemen, but I think the bulk of the work is in New Jersey, but he obviously has a thriving business in New York City as well. And I wanted to bring Fawad on because I wanted to talk about a lot of the changes, because everybody's like, they're bringing on certain people regarding real estate, but nobody's really bringing in, like, I don't want to say the heavy hitters, but they're not really like diving into really what's going on. So I figured the 12 o'clock show is a perfect example just to dive right in and bring somebody who's a heavy hitter in the industry that understands how real estate works. And obviously, Fawad could tell you a little bit about himself, where he's been, where he's going, where the market is headed. And we're going to cover 5 topics today. So sit back, relax, take a deep breath, take a sip of your wine or sandwich or whatever it is, and basically get ready to learn and be educated. Fawad, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Fawad, just give some people a little bit of feedback, a little background of who you are and what you stand for.
Sure. So I'm an attorney. I've been an attorney for past 8 years now. I primarily do real estate. That's been the bulk of my business. That's all I do. Pretty much from the get-go, and majority of that is also in the investment realm. I represent a lot of investors. The investors obviously have unique needs, so we represent a lot of investors in structuring deals for them, but also we represent a lot of retail buyers as well. Sort of guide them through the process, a lot of first-time home buyers, as well as assisting a lot of realtors with their clients, getting deals done, closed. So that's real estate is all I do. So that's been my focus for 8 years now, and then that's continuing to be what I focus on.
So based on the market conditions that we have right now, I know a big topic obviously is COVID-19.
Right.
But it really hasn't slowed down the real estate industry. It's just basically almost made it like a funnel, and the funnel's getting jammed. And people like yourself, professionals, have to find a different way, a way right now where it's going to work perfectly for the situation that we're in, commonly known as, the COVID years.
Right.
What are you seeing right now as far as the closing? How has it impacted your business?
Business is still happening. Anybody in the real estate industry knows that it's still going on. It hasn't come to a stop or anything like that. It's just changed a bit. The way we approach things is different. Me as an attorney, there's things that I need to take into account now in the COVID era. We put additional language in all of the contracts now to protect our clients, whether you're on the buyer side or the sell side. In case of any delays as a result of COVID, some of the delays, maybe county closures, not being able to get inspections done, not getting access to the home in time. Things are delayed with contractors and so forth. So, things that we need to now account for, going into the deal as opposed to, trying to deal with it when it comes up. So we try to head that off now. We put language into the contracts that, because of the pandemic going on, there may be delays. The parties agree ahead of time to sort of cooperate and agree to give each other time because of things being delayed as a result of COVID. So it's just being conscious of what's going on and possible scenarios that may come up as a result of COVID and preparing for that, making sure all the expectations are set from the beginning. Now, realtors and clients, the way they're going about things, with virtual showings, and a lot of one-on-ones, as opposed to you have open houses, etc. That kind of stuff has changed. Obviously, people are doing things differently in that front, and that sort of boils down to what everybody's comfort levels are. Obviously, everybody's trying to be as safe as possible, but business still needs to be done.
So the real estate market right now, in my opinion, is forever changed.
Oh, for sure.
And anybody that, and I bring this up a lot on the lives that I'm doing, as far as the technology, the information that's provided for people versus just showing up to a closing. So
yeah,
what are you seeing as far as the changes in the real estate market, as you personally, as an attorney?
Sure. So in the real estate market, I mean, there's obviously, people are adjusting to the new reality. So, and that runs the gamut. I've got situations where, buyers are a little freaked out about what's going on, and they're either saying maybe it's not a good idea for me to buy, in which case we sort of work with them to sort of help them through that process if that's the ultimate decision they want to make. And you got sellers as well, where sellers don't want to lose buyers either, because they don't want to get stuck with the property with the fear that they may not be able to sell it, even though from what I'm seeing, transactions are still booming, they're still going. But everybody, from what I see, is being a lot more accommodating. People used to take these hard stances, either take it or leave it sort of situations, and now it's sort of softened up, where it's sort of like, all right, what's it going to take to get this done? And then same thing with the lenders, right? Lenders are changing. All of their requirements are changing. Lenders are getting new guidelines every single day. Buyers that thought that they had everything sorted now need to provide additional documentation, additional information, and loans are taking a little bit longer to close, but they're still closing. So, it's just everybody in the process is just having to sort of, accommodate and sort of work with each other. And like I said, for the most part, everybody knows what's going on. So nobody has any issues with, start trying to accommodate the other person. So at least that's been good.
So how has it been dealing with the clients? The seller side, the buyer side, how is it impacting them emotionally with this whole thing going on? Because obviously you're selling a property, you're moving out of a house,
right.
You're having people that you don't know anyway coming in, as far as moving companies.
Yeah.
Now it has to be very frightening for people to think like, oh my God, are they going to be coming in like masked suits? What's the process? So how is it really impacting from the buyer side and the seller side, from an attorney point of view, as far as hearing from other attorneys on the seller or buy side, or vice versa?
Sure. So, like I said, that's a legitimate concern, right? Like if I got sellers and, now there's obviously, during a real estate closing process, there's things that need to be done, things like inspections and appraisals and so forth, which require, physical interaction with somebody, right? So, if I got sellers and they're still living in that house, then, they got certain requirements now, because they want to protect themselves, right? Where, all right, fine. If the inspector comes, only the inspector is going to be allowed. They got to wear booties. They got to wear their shoes. They got to wear a mask. They got to wear gloves, trying to limit exposure. And, like I said, most everybody is being understanding and reasonable of that, right? So buyers are understanding of that. Buyers are understanding that, hey, we may not be able to go to the house for the inspection, but our inspector, is somebody that we hired and that we trust. So whatever they find, we're trusting that. And some inspectors will video conference the buyer just so they can see certain things in the house. So everybody is sort of adjusting and accommodating, all of the real estate professionals, from inspectors to realtors to attorneys to appraisers. Appraisers, now are will do a their first off will be a drive-by appraisal, and if that if the parties decide to dispute that, if the appraisal doesn't come in because they hadn't get access to the house inside, then then lenders and appraisal will take it to the next step after that. But the first instance, they'll do a drive-by just to make sure they're not disrupting the homeowners if they're in the house by having somebody having a stranger go through the house, and also protecting themselves. So it's just accommodating each other has just really been what it's all about. But because like at the end of the day, transactions still need to happen, business still needs to be done. It's just, you got to work around certain things.
So finally, basically, as the market had changed, we're in a different era where, I mean, it's almost sad to say, but my God, if you're waking up from a coma, like if you were in a car accident 4 months ago and you woke up out of a coma, you would have been like, what the hell is going on? Literally a different world. And it's a different feel. And I think people now are taking it completely differently. I think when in the beginning when it happened, because I think people were taking this as a joke. And it's funny because you watch people on Facebook, aka Facebook, and they're saying these things and they're literally like shooting words out of their mouth like diarrhea based on no content, nothing like firm, nothing concrete that would say that, COVID is a certain way.
Right.
And, people are like, the virus, the COVID-19 virus, which was, as somebody was saying something on the back of the spray can of Lysol.
Yeah.
That Corona's been around forever.
Yep.
It's a different strand.
Right.
It's a different strand of it. So it's like different strands of different viruses. So unfortunately, this has crippled the way people interact socially. And it's like, which leads me to my next question, is the closings. I know that they're being conducted, but I mean, when you guys first swung into action, you have a beautiful office.
Yeah.
And when people pop off the elevator, it's like, oh my God, you almost have like a Manhattan feel, which I love.
Right.
But you set up, it was like immediately. You took away the receptionist, not out front. They have a sign out front, ring this doorbell, whatever, right. and you can interact with the people. And you were almost, I don't want to say put people in seclusion, but it was like, okay, so walk to the right, do the closing. Tell people how the actual closings were being conducted, because honestly, I think you guys were right from the beginning.
Right. So immediately after this all started happening, one of the first things we did was lock down our floor. Right. So you've been to our office, you have the elevator lobby where it comes in. And then, what we would generally have is nobody was at the front desk. Clients would just walk through the doors and just start walking around the floor looking for somebody. Right. So one of the first things we did was lock the floor down. We put a bell out there, we put notices out there, so that way, when somebody comes, you wait there in the front, somebody will come and see what you want and help you out. But as far as closings go, one of the first things we started doing was, starting to limit who comes to closings. Realtors always love to come to closings, and we love having them, right? Because, we love giving them their commissions. It's hard earned and they deserve it. So, they always like to come to closings to get their checks. But, the sad reality is that, if you're not required to, if you're not needed to come to the closing, then, we've sort of, asked them not to come. Only the buyer or the seller side, we usually, we don't go in person on seller side anyway, but even more so now, we overnight the documents, and that way there's less interaction. But now it's sort of buyers come, and even in certain scenarios where if you have a family that's buying a house, husband and wife both needs to sign documents, they got kids, they don't want to expose their kids. That's fine. We leave, one of the parents can stay downstairs in the car with the kids. One parent comes upstairs, they sign the documents, they go down, they send the other one. So we've had situations like that as well. But, we have multiple conference rooms where if we need to separate parties, just so, we're not all in one room, we limit how many people there are. We've been doing that. The other thing that's been done, that we've been doing ever since Governor Murphy signed the executive order allowing for virtual notarization is doing closings in a virtual manner, where now, at least temporarily, you're allowed to do a virtual notary where you have a situation like this where it's a video conference. Borrowers and the notary sit on opposite ends, and borrowers identify themselves, show ID. The package would get sent to them. They identify themselves, they sign in front of the notary, and then they overnight the package back to the notary, who's allowed to now stamp an approval, stamp their notary stamp on those original signed documents if they witnessed them virtually signing them. So that's another process. A lot of people in the industry have taken up now is notarization. And then so we've been accommodating everybody. Some clients don't either have the capability or would prefer not to do it that way. Some lenders don't want to do it that way. In that case, that's fine. Come into the office. We'll be prepared. We protect ourselves. We have PPE. We have gloves, masks. Everything gets sanitized before and after. You're given, a brand new pen, and you take that pen with you, sort of just to limit the contact and exposure. And then, realtors, like I said, everybody that's not supposed to be there, doesn't need to be there, is told not to come. And, the money gets sent to everybody anyway.
So do people get offended when they can't be in the closing or they have to wait downstairs? Because, I mean, in general, people are very impatient.
Yeah.
So.
No, we've had that. We've had, especially in the beginning where, the certain, realtors like, no, I want to be there for my client. I want to be, they're buying a house. I want to be there for them. And like I said, we encourage them. We ask them not to come. But if they do insist on it, like I said, we'll have them wait in the lobby of the building downstairs. Where after we're all done, everything is set, then, we can leave the check on the receptionist desk and they can come up and get it. And the whole goal is to keep them safe, is to keep our staff safe, is to keep everybody protected while still being able to, close and conduct business. But for the most part now, even my entire staff has been working from home. For our clients, it's seamless. We've sort of, ever since we started, we've sort of, we've sort of had a setup where we could, work from home or transition out of the office pretty easily. A lot of our, everything from our filing system, email, to our computers and our office phones are all able to go virtual pretty easily. We have everything, on our cell phone. You dial the office line. It rings on my cell phone. It rings on my paralegal cell phones. So, for our clients, it's seamless. But, in order to make sure all of my staff is safe and everything, we sort of transition to a work from home model. But, for our clients, we're here as if we were in the office as far as they're concerned.
Listen, that's amazing that you could do that. I mean, I know you're a tech guy. I know that you like all the bells and whistles and stuff like that. I remember we had a lunch meeting in your office, and he kept checking your watch, and I was like, "This dude's being rude." And he goes, "Bro," he goes, "My phone is ringing," and he goes, "I'm getting the messages on my watch," which I thought, honestly, like that's pretty badass.
Yeah. Like I said, I have the app on my watch. I have the app on my phone. So whenever a client calls my line, it rings. I'll get the notification. Clients can text text my office number as well. I'll get the text on our phones. So we do my paralegals. So whoever's available will immediately respond to the clients. So the idea with everything that's going on is, as far as clients are concerned, it's a seamless process for them. As far as they're aware, is business as usual. No, there's no interruption on our end.
Listen, my company, we're virtual as it is.
Right.
And I asked my team last week in a meeting, the law firms that we work with, how are we doing? Everything's great. Everybody across the board pretty much has made the transition.
Right.
Not so much in the beginning. I would say you guys were probably one of the first where we were getting a hold of you right away. And I'm like, bro, do you not care about your employees? Everybody's answering their phone right away. And everything's virtual.
Yeah, everything is virtual. I'll come into the office once or twice a week because there's certain things you can't, FedExes, mail, packages, but for that kind of stuff, I'll come in. We'll handle all of that, and but for the most part, yeah, everybody's doing it from home. And like I said, we've been accommodating closings, so closings have been getting done, and in fact, April and May have been pretty busy altogether. So we've been getting things done, and that's the end of that's the name of the game, right? You gotta be able to service the clients. You gotta be able to get these transactions closed because that's the end goal, right? Nobody enters a transaction to have it just linger there. So you want to, both sellers and buyers, realtors, everybody. That's the end goal of everybody involved is to get it closed. So sometimes you need to, talk through with things with lenders, with title companies, whatever needs to be done. You can't just sit back and just say, it'll happen if it happens. We get proactive. We'll talk to lenders if there's a certain scenario. In certain cases, lenders have approved power of attorneys pretty quickly as well, where a client is either exhibiting symptoms or they don't have the technological capability to do it virtually. This is even before the notarization came about. Lenders, usually when you do a power of attorney with a lender, that's a process, right? You got to have a power of attorney drafted. It needs to go to underwriting. It may take a couple of days to get approved. They need additional documentation, etc. But lenders have been accommodating given what's going on as well. So they've been approving power of attorneys pretty quickly if needed on certain scenarios. So whatever it is, it's just about being proactive and working through and talking through with the parties involved to get things done.
What's it like dealing with the court, which is pretty much non-existent right now, and public records? How is that working out?
Sure. So, most counties have a online component. So, checking, public records, checking, court records and stuff. On the title side, most title companies are able to do that. Certain counties have had closures where, documents older than a certain date can only be done in person, and counties have closures. So, we sort of work with the title companies to get, whatever they need, in certain scenarios. If we can push to get an owner's policy, that'll alleviate some of the items, where rather than, this county may take a couple of weeks to get us back results, or some counties are just shut down. Like Passaic County was shut down for a while, where, it was just, if you didn't have an owner's policy, you weren't able to get, anything done in Passaic County for a little while. So, it's just getting ahead of stuff, staying in touch with title companies, figuring out, what's going on, what you need, what are you guys seeing, so we can be proactive, right? So if I'm doing a real estate transaction, I can be proactive ahead of time and making sure I get what's called back title. If I'm representing a buyer, or if I'm representing a seller, then I make sure I get back title from my client and send it to the buyer's side at the get-go, right from the beginning, so that they can, sort of speed up the title process, so we're not waiting for backlogs from counties.
Listen, I can't say enough good things about your law office, your practice, your team members that run your team. For us, it's important. It's the backbone, as far as I'm concerned, when we're doing our short sales, right, because we need to make sure that we're going to keep moving in the right direction.
Right.
I want to ask you, and I'm going to put you in a spot. You've been in business for a very long time. You have a stellar law firm practice, Ridgefield Park.
Yep, Ridgefield Park.
Right off Route 80, and it's actually a great location. And the way you guys have your setup, obviously, it flows really great. I know how we feel about your office. What's your feeling? I mean, what my company does. We're loss mitigation. We do short sales. How do you like working with Real Estate Recovery Group?
Oh, it's great. There's as a attorney in the transaction, if you have a when we deal with especially distressed properties, distressed sellers, sometimes communication is the best with them. Sometimes information, there's been a gap there. So working with you, Leah and Tom and everybody on your team, it's just you need answers, reach out, you're there, you have everything organized. I need documentation. You guys have a central system. I need to get bankruptcy information. I need to get contracts, amendments, it's all there, right? So everybody's very responsive, which is good. Which is what I need, which is what my staff needs. If you have a question, if we can get an answer right away, if we can get the documents we need right away, or if we have a situation where it's a distressed owner, sometimes they're elderly and they can't get in contact with them. Sometimes you guys step in to assist with that as well. So having somebody sort of help push the transaction, help you push the transaction along, having everything sort of at your fingertips made available to you, sort of really helps us do our job and effectively represent clients.
I think it's all about complementing both businesses. I think it's about the customer service. I think it's about having an understanding. I think most important is the communication between the realtors that are involved, the attorneys that are involved, the title company that's involved, any lien holders or judgments, anything that would perhaps make it so we can't convey clear title, as long as everybody's on the same page. I know we're working on one file where I've basically crawled up your rear end to find out on judgments.
Right.
You did your job, which was great. We didn't get the exact response that we wanted, and I think some of these lien holders, to a certain extent, they're almost making it impossible for people to clear title.
Right.
Where they have eventually they might have to file bankruptcy, which is sad.
Right.
And then get the liens and the judgments vacated off the title to move forward to properly, move with procedure. What's your thought process as far as, the short sale process, what we're doing on our end, and basically working with the homeowners themselves and with the bank versus actually handling the short sales themselves with other people that are out there? Do you find it's easier to work with a loss mitigation company like myself, and be honest, or do you feel it's easier to work with other attorneys that are doing short sales or real estate agents?
No, it's definitely better working with a company like yours, just because one, I'm not in the business of short sale negotiation. That's not something that I want me or my staff doing, just because it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, right? That's time and effort that we use for other items, for handling other matters. But you have somebody that has connections, knows people at banks, knows how their process works, is from the banking side, so understands what banks are looking for, what investors are looking for, and how to speak their language really helps. And then it just also you're a great resource in terms of like we talked about clearing title, right? If we have liens, we have judgments. I mean, certainly we do our part, right? But to have somebody like Leah, hounding down these lien holders as well, helps move things along, right? And gets title cleared just so we can close. So, that kind of stuff is a great resource. Sometimes I find realtors may not know what they're doing. Sometimes they think it's easy, where you just call up a lender and say, hey, we want to do a short sale, and it's easy as that. There's so much more that goes into it. There's a lot of back and forth, a lot of document collection. There's a lot of understanding how the bank operates, what they're looking for, and that way, when you present it to them, you've already addressed everything that they need, all their concerns, and you have a much smoother process. You have a much faster approval. I've worked with realtors that do their own short sale negotiations, and it just gets dragged out forever. And there's never any sort of clear understanding of what's going on, what the current situation is, what needs to be done. It's sort of just like, let's just throw stuff against the wall and see what the bank says.
So you can agree with me, that type of logic or that type of trying to run your business as a certain direction and thinking that, and I think this is across the board with any business,
right?
Where people think that they have to work harder. Really, what you need to do is work smarter.
Right.
So anybody who's a realtor or a broker, I'm saying tune in, because what you're saying right now makes a lot of sense. It would make more sense to initiate a transaction with somebody who's in distress.
Right.
Market the property, continue to do your job.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've been involved, and I know you have too, with real estate agents that are so closed-minded and or are directed by their broker to not have any outside help to try to, basically get their short sale to the finish line. So it's sad. I think it's people that are not going for a continuous education, or their mindset is, Matt, love the concept of your class. I could probably get a couple of real estate agents to attend, but do you get CT credits? So I'm almost annoyed at this point where I keep hearing where people are like, well, if I'm not going to benefit from the CT credit side of it, why am I going to do it?
Right.
So it's kind of like, what would be your thought to say to somebody who's a realtor or broker, you're not going to get this, maybe you won't get a CT credit. In the future, who the hell knows? But right now, you're not getting it. I mean, you spoke at my boot camp, my big boot camp. Right. You come to, one of the workshops. I think you were at my master class as well. what would you say to somebody who's holding off on wanting to understand short sales because of a PT credit?
It's a no-brainer. I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't work with a loss mitigation company, because it doesn't cost them or their client anything, right? There's literally no harm in it. And if there are realtors that don't know how to do short sales, or that aren't keen on doing short sales, if you learn this stuff, they have one, they'll gain knowledge, and two, they'll have a resource, right? Where now they can go after distressed sellers, right, and represent them, and that opens up a whole new market for them. But also, if they are already going after them, instead of doing it yourself, you have a loss mitigation company like RRG do it. It takes the effort, the time, and everything off of your plate, and it doesn't cost you anything. You still get your full commission. Your client still gets the property closed. It doesn't come out of their pocket for anything. So it's literally, there's no reason not to. It's a win-win for you. You get knowledge. You can open up a brand new market that you didn't have before, and it takes, gives you your time back. It gives you, it takes away the headache of having to negotiate a short sale with no cost to you. So why wouldn't you?
I agree with everything that you're saying. It sounds like common sense.
Right.
I believe that there's two types of real estate agent mindset. There's one that has a 9 to 5, I've got a job.
Right.
And I believe that the other one has, the mindset of an entrepreneur.
Right.
So I think personally, if anybody's in the New York, New Jersey area and they're looking for a real estate attorney that understands short sales and understands the importance of having a team environment, they should reach out to you. The best way to reach out to Fawad is you can call the office number, which is the 201-500-7522. Again, it's 201-500-7522. Or you can email Fawad directly at it's FKHAN@KHANlawgroup.com.
Yep.
Again, it's FKHAN@KHANlawgroup.com. Those are the two best ways to reach out to you. Congratulations, obviously, on making the practice basically con law and or associates. How is it now, basically, being on your own, basically pulling in the reins yourself and being the chief commander over there?
It's good. It's good. It's definitely work, but it's very rewarding. I'm glad to. I'm lucky and glad to be supported by great staff that's always there. That does an excellent job. Obviously, without people supporting you and having your back, it makes everything a lot more difficult. So, I'm very thankful for all of my employees, my staff that sort of handle everything. I got excellent paralegals that know everything inside and out, and they do a great job of helping me out. So it's good, and I'm excited for the future, and excited to see what happens next.
So obviously, I gave the phone numbers. If they want, they can. You're trending obviously on social media. #ConLawGroup. #ConLawGroup. It's KHAN Law Group. Hashtag in front of it. We can find you that way. Guys, the purpose of doing these lives are for, I want people to understand that there's an environment where they can go. We do have a private group, obviously, that people can go to. It's called Short Sales 101. That's a private Facebook group. You have to answer the questions to get in the group. I think last week, Fawad, I know you'll appreciate this, we had 34 people that we accepted into the group, and we rejected about 30 some odd people from the group because they didn't answer the questions. And then we're getting repercussions. Hey, you haven't approved me yet. You didn't answer the questions. Oh, and you'll get responses like, oh, I didn't know I had to answer it.
That's right there in the beginning.
If you're not going to pay attention from the beginning, you're not going to answer those questions,
right,
we just can't have you in the group. Right. So we're eliminating the people that are coming on. We're slowly building the group up, which I think is great. I think we're approaching 1,400 people in the ecosystem that we have, which is the Short Sales 101 on the Facebook. And obviously, people can reach out to us, through our toll-free number, which is the 866-739-3960, 866-739-3960. We're all over social media, hashtag RRG, and obviously the website is realestaterecoverygroup.com. Fawad, any final words or anything that you want to mention about the company, or maybe about what you see going forward as far as COVID in the future?
I think it's going to be interesting next couple of months to see how a lot of the stuff plays out. And depending on how the local states start, doing the reopenings, we'll see, how that affects the market, how that affects real estate as things start opening back up again. So that's going to be exciting to see. It's going to be interesting, and it's just got to stay on top of things. Got to adjust when things change. So that's the basic gist of it. I mean, you can call or text the office number. If you have any questions, you can send an email as well, and we're here to help and assist.
Wait, they can text that phone number as well?
They can text that number as well. Yep.
I didn't know that. So guys, if you're a texter, and some people are very antisocial,
right,
and they just want to text, you can text 201-500-7522. Again, that text is 201-500-7522. So you could call that number and or text, and you will get a response back from Con Law.
Yep.
And obviously, listen, it was great having you on.
Thanks.
I am going to say at the end of every one of these lives, I ask people to do the finger point. So I'd love to see. Wow, I want to see if you could do it. You nailed it. I love it.
I've been practicing.
I see that. I like it because it was a firm finger, which is good. I think you could. I don't know if you could cut glass with it. I think you can shatter it a little. I think you can break it. I'm gonna give you a solid 8 on that, bro.
Nice, thanks.
That has been the best out of every single person that's been on here as far as trying to do the finger point. So
nice.
Kudos to you. What's that?
I'll take that.
Take it, but don't worry about the finger point. Worry about getting the deals closed.
Oh, for sure.
So listen, guys, this is Fawad Khan from the Khan Law Group, and he is the managing member. He is in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. He's at 100 Challenger Road. He's on the 8th floor. The 8th floor, ladies and gentlemen, that is the penthouse of the building. So hopefully we'll be able to do that grand opening that we've always been talking about.
Yeah, we had plans for this spring, and then, it is what it is now.
COVID's destroyed a lot of hopes and dreams.
COVID's crushed a lot of plans.
100%. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
Absolutely. Hold on one sec. Don't go anywhere. Guys, just remember, Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be doing these lives. We're educating people, we're informing people, and we're letting people know what's going on in the real estate community all around the United States. Talk to you soon.